Hello, my name's Lynda and this is my kitchen garden. Now today I'm going to do some gardening. I'm going to do some down the alleyway, some gardening down the alleyway. So I've got like a, I've told you before, you've seen it, I've got an alleyway down the side of my house. So obviously I'm running out of space here in my garden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some planters and I'm going to have a go at growing loofahs down the side of my house. So they're a vine and they need something to climb. So I've got a trellis. So I've got this trellis here, so I'm going to fix that to the fence and I'll show you my loofahs. They're getting quite big, so they need to go out. Now I've got 4, so I'm planning on planting all 4. These belong to the cucumber family and the courgette family, so I'm assuming they're not a deep rooter. They don't have deep roots because cucumbers and courgettes have very small roots because all the growth, just like beans as well, is all on the outside. It's all in the vine. So if I can get them going on the side, then I'm going to try and keep them trained in one area. Do you know what I mean? I was going to grow them on my allotment, but I've lost all faith in my allotment. I've got no enthusiasm to do anything there. So I haven't been since the last video I did, so I've no idea what's going on there. I've been up once to water the sunflowers. I've absolutely no idea what everything looks like. It's probably full of weeds. But I will go up, I will go and have a look because I've got to hang on. I need to see what's going to happen with it. But at the moment I've got no enthusiasm. I've lost all interest in it. So I'm throwing everything into growing into my little garden, my little 30 square metre space. But obviously I've run out of space here and I don't want things, I've got to keep things out of the way from the little dogs because they chew and eat the plants. And a lot of plants are, well, not a lot, but a lot of plants are poisonous to dogs. So vegetables, potato plants, the leaves, they're poisonous. So if you can see here, that's a potato plant there, and I've had to put that behind a barrier so that they can't, because they started chewing that. All my tomatoes are in there and they're in beds in the middle so that they can't reach them because they're only little dogs, and I've got a lot on the front. Everything's growing massively. I'll show you, I'll give you a little tour of my front, and then later on when it gets to June I'll do you more of a tour of the back garden as well. But today I want to plant these loofahs, so I'm going to do them. And then, so I've got 4 of them. There's 4 loofahs. I'm going to harvest my garlic. So I'm going to harvest my garlic that's on the side. So that'll leave me 2 free planters then, so I can sort them out. What else am I going to put in? Ooh, that radish looks good there. Right, so these as well, let's pull these out. Let's put these in a planter as well. These are asparagus peas. These are asparagus peas. These are, I've never grown them before neither. Now apparently you're supposed to pick them when they're very small, otherwise they stringy, like string beans. So I'll let you know what they're like. Might be a first and last time. So they can go in planter, and they climb as well. So I need trellis for those as well. But what I think I'll do for them is, I've got some smaller trellis, some like wire stuff somewhere. So I'll dig that out. What else? Yeah, I think that's it for down the side for now. So let's sort some tubs out for them. Let's crack on. So anyone that says they can't grow garlic or they've got no place, look, I've got 3 planters there, and the garlic, I think it's ready, so I'm going to pull it up. So that's my garlic harvested. There, that's where that was. So it's a bit windy if I'm moving around. And this trellis is what I'm going to put up here. And I'm going to grow the loofahs. I've got 4, so should I put 2 in each? So yeah, I'm going to put that there, I think. And then they can grow from there. I could put it straight across. Ow. There. Or I could put it straight across there. And then no. Oh, don't put it that way. Yes. Let's put it that way. Decisions. I'm injured. So there we go. I've still got one empty there. I can do something with that later, I think. So they're onions, just starting to bulb up there. And they just need a good water. When they start to grow a bit, I will put some more trellis above there, but they don't grow very high, apparently. But I'll put a bit more trellis up there. So as you can see, I've put the trellis up to the top of the fence there. And I know that these do grow, but I just don't know whether it's going to be warm enough down here for them, because it's a bit of a wind tunnel, and I don't know whether they'll like it, but we'll see. So it's a tester, so I'll give them a good water, and then they're in. Let's have a look at my garden, my front garden. I'll show you that. So these are dwarf sunflowers that are just starting to open there. I love sunflowers, as you know. I think that's calendula, I think it is. In fact, I'm sure it is. Yeah, so they've got multiple heads as well, look. It's like little heads coming up there. And I've dotted these along the front. So the front, my plan was to put flowers on the allotment, if you remember. And I just couldn't bear to put them on there. So I've planted most flowers here on the front of my house. So this area here is about, I don't know, maybe 6 square metres. Yeah, probably. Roughly, without measuring it, I'd say maybe 6 square metres. So I've put some courgettes in pots there on the front. And I've used these. I've put all my best pots at the front, apart from these plastic ones. I've used all my rubbish ones in the back garden. Because they're dear, aren't they? They're expensive. These are a basket variety, so they don't grow very big. So these are a determinate tomato. So they're not a great height to grow, but so they're like a little cherry tomato. These are called tumbling tom. I've got these in my back garden as well, in a planter on the fence, on like a trough type planter. And these are tumbling toms at the front there, and then at the back I've got a larger variety, which is an indeterminate, so that'll need a cane because it'll grow upwards. So when you want it to stop, you have to just pinch the top out and then it'll stop growing. And then I've put some baskets of petunias. These are the petunias that I grew. So I've just put those there. And if you just keep deadheading, taking the spent flowers off, it'll keep flowering. So you'll get loads of flowers. I don't know whether I've shown you, but it did have a lot of black fly. And for people that are going on about pest control, and they keep asking me questions about pest control, my pest control is nature. So I left the black fly on, and the ladybirds found it, and they've ate it all. It's all gone. I don't use any pesticides whatsoever. We've got some lovely calendula there, and these little beautiful white flowers, that's gypsophilia in the middle. And I've planted nasturtiums there. Can you see the big flat? Now you can eat these nasturtiums. These have a really peppery flavour, but they're also a great sacrificial plant because they attract aphids. So they keep aphids. They'll keep aphids off my veg. And then the one in the middle there is a giant sunflower. The variety is called Kong, and they have a massive head on them. They're a 1-head sunflower. I've got 6 on the front here. Six sunflowers I've got on the front. And then again in pots there I've got tomato plants. These are the little cherry tomatoes, I think. oh no, tombola. So I got a packet of seeds from the from one of the seed suppliers online. They sent me a free packet of tombola seeds, so I've planted them, and so I don't know what they are. They're a mystery. And then at the back there we've got an indeterminate plant again, so that hasn't got, that'll just grow. That's a big viner, so I'll have to pinch the sides out. I just pinch the shoots out at the side. Can you see where I've done it? Just there. And that's just to stop the plant from being too bushy. You can let it grow and it'll still grow tomatoes off, but you won't get as big a harvest if you let it go too bushy. But I don't really bother taking the bottom leaves. I just pinch out the little side shoots so it continues to grow up and focus on the actual plant itself. These are a really tiny variety, really small, lovely, juicy tomato. I grow these every year. They're called Mini Bell, these. And these are a really small one, so you can actually grow this on a windowsill. So that's that one, Mini Bell they're called. And we've got some calendula again. This is a dwarf sunflower, but it's been chewed. That's been chewed a bit. Calendula with gypsophilia again. And then I've got a tomato plant there. And I did plant a load of lavender, but I think it's all failed. I can't really see any of it. This is a dahlia. I think that's the only one I've got of them as well. Oh no, wait, that's a dahlia there, isn't it? There. That's a dahlia. Yes. So 2 have survived. That's not too bad really. See, there's one there. Come. And dwarf sunflower again. Another tomato plant. This is, not quite sure what that is, to be honest. I think, is it foxglove? I don't know. Quite can't remember what that is. It's not foxglove. No, that's a mystery. Don't know what that is. And then I've got some, in between some gladiolis there. Calendula. And then there's dwarf sunflower in that back one there. There's a dwarf sunflower, and I think that's a giant sunflower that's snuck in from the bird seed, because I feed the birds as well on the front. Tomatoes again in this one, in this pot. I've got plenty of flowers and they're doing all right. They're all outside. They're not undercover, so you don't need a greenhouse. Now, this is just to show you that you can grow in pots, and I don't like uniformed lines of growing vegetables and stuff. I think it just looks a bit old manish. Is that just me, or I like things to look a bit more natural, but I know they're in pots, but I like a bit of a mixture, so I've mixed everything up there. And I've got calendula in the back one there, and then I've got these 2 rascals in the window there. So yeah, so that's my front garden. Who likes eating peas out of the pods? Now, the best way for me of eating these, because if you leave them too long, let me get you sorted. If you leave broad beans too long, then see there's a big one here, and they can get quite tough. So you don't want the beans to get too big. So you see that? You can eat that raw. And they're lovely. You don't have to cook these. But obviously the bigger they get, then the more fibrous they get and the tougher they get, and then they've got to be cooked then. And then I don't like the outer skin when they get big. It's too leathery for me. So then I have to spend, well, I don't, my daughter has to spend a lot of time taking the middles out because there's a bean inside the bean. So let's just see if I can show you here. See? There's a bean inside the bean. And they're tender. So you can eat those. Stop wobbling. And they just taste like a mild pea flavour. But you can eat that as well. When they're young, the shell is tender. So what I do with these is I shell them all. See how little they are? And then I pop them on salad. So I'll make a salad and then I'll just sprinkle those on top. So if I've got some peas, then I'll do the same with them. So I'll shell those, the raw peas, and I'll eat them raw. Now the health benefits of eating broad beans are huge because they contain, I'll put the name of it underneath. Now these contain what are called lectins, which is a protein that attaches itself to cells. They've been proved to have some sort of natural effect on colon cancer. Now, I'm no doctor, but these are what they are, the health benefits of eating broad beans are. And you can eat the tops off broad beans as well. So I'll show you some of those. So these are the tops off the broad bean. Those, so they've been washed. And you can pop them in a stir fry and you can eat them as a vegetable. And they have the same, so they have lots of different vitamins in and they're really beneficial to health. But don't eat too many because they're super high in fibre and they'll make you go to the loo a lot. So that's it for this one. You have a great weekend and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now. Bye.